guys, welcome back to my channel. So we have another Makeup 101 video for you guys. This is how to conceal dark circles. So this one is one that you guys have been requesting for a while. The one that I posted earlier is from like a gazillion years ago. This one is a little bit more updated, and I found my holy grail in terms of the products that I absolutely love for concealing dark circles. And these are the ones that I found work best. So we are gonna get into this video. Before we do, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and let's get started. So my hands down absolute favorite concealer on the whole entire planet are the NARS concealers. They do concealers so incredibly well. Their color range is amazing, and the formulation, I haven't found anything that beats it in terms of giving you tons of coverage, but also looking relatively natural on the skin. So the one that I like to start off with is the Soft Matte Complete Concealer. This one is in the color Ginger right over here. This one's got a little bit of an orange undertone, so it conceals the darkness really well. And then the cream has a lot of coverage, so it gives you that nice sort of base coverage, and then you can go in and brighten it. So when I do concealer, I like to do a two-step process. So when I do concealer to cover dark circles, you definitely have to do more than one concealer. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. If you have like mildly dark circles, like they're not that apparent, but you just want to brighten, you can get away with using one. But if you have dark circles that are about this level of darkness or darker, you definitely have to use more than one. I'm going to be using two in this video. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take a concealer that has a little bit more of an orange undertone and has pretty good coverage, and you're gonna lay that down on the dark areas. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take a concealer that is a little bit lighter than your skin, has decent coverage as well, and you're gonna go over everything as well as extend it out a little bit to brighten that area overall and to help blend the first concealer that you lay down. So now when it comes to actually applying the concealer, you can use whichever tools you want. I'm going to start off with a pointier concealer brush, and I like to use this for the more orange undertone concealer because it allows me to get really precise with the placement. I can get right into the tight corners, lay it down, and push it into the skin. So remember from my basic face brushes video how I was saying that when you're applying your concealer, you want to push it into your skin. You don't want to sweep. Just remember that when you're applying your concealer. So I'm gonna start off with this color Ginger right here. And I've got, this is the Luxie 211 brush, and I'm going to link all of the products down in the description box below for you guys, so you have it all there to reference later on. And when you're applying your concealer, you don't want to put too much product on. It's better to apply a little bit at a time and add more than putting a whole bunch on and trying to take it off. It just does not blend really nicely. And the whole concept of concealing your under eyes is you want it to look like you're nice and bright and refreshed, but you don't want to look like you have a ton of makeup on. So we're going to start off by going right into the inner eye corner, and I'm laying that down and I'm pushing it into the skin. And then another area that a lot of people kind of forget is the inner corner of the eye. There's always a little bit of darkness right in there. So you want to take your concealer up and just apply it where you see any sort of darkness. So see how I'm using like really small motions, and I'm pressing it into my skin and I'm not sweeping. And whatever's left on my brush, what I'm doing is I'm just sort of dragging it out a little bit because there's not a whole lot of darkness right over there. And that's another thing that I see a lot of people do is they'll apply their concealer all over here, but there's not a ton of darkness there, so there's not really anything to conceal. So you just remember, want to pay attention to where you see dark areas. That is where your concealer is going to go. So see what I mean by how great the shade range is on the NARS concealers? This has an orange undertone, but it's not orange. It still blends really nicely into your skin. So now the first step is done, and if you wanted to, you could stop here. I mean, it is pretty covered. You don't have to go any further, but I like to highlight a little bit just to brighten the eyes a little bit more, and you just end up looking like so incredibly refreshed. So what I like to do for the next step is I like to take the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. So this is a shade Custard. This is a couple of shades lighter than my own skin tone, and I really love this concealer, guys. This concealer is phenomenal. It covers really well, but because it's liquid, it blends really nicely into the skin. And what I like to do is I like to brighten underneath my eyes. You want to be careful, like I was saying before, that you don't end up using too much product, because then it just sort of defeats the purpose of making your skin look really like nice and natural and covered as well. So it comes with this wand, and I just like to take off the excess. There's enough on the wand already that you don't need all that extra product. And then what I like to do is I like to lay down a few lines. You guys have probably seen this. And then in terms of blending it out, there are two different tools that I like to use to blend it out. In my face brushes video, I talk about how much I love the Sephora Pro Airbrush Conceal Brush. Or you can use the Beauty Blender Sponge. That does a really good job of blending your highlight in. So now what you want to do is you want to press it in. And you're kind of going in this triangle area, the triangle being from the inner eye corner down to your nose, out to the outer corner of your eyebrow, and then back in. So this area right here is where you want to place that product. So you place the product down and then just blend it out. And I go down the side of the nose a little bit just because it helps to contour the nose as well. And just look at the difference between the two sides. So like I said, if you wanted to stop at the one concealer, it does a decent job, but look at the difference between the two sides and how much more flawless, how much more covered everything looks, and it just brings everything forward. For my own skin, I like that because my under eyes do go a little bit further in, they're more deep set, so it really pops everything forward. So you can see for yourself the difference between the two sides. So now I've applied it to both sides and you can see just how covered everything is and how natural it looks at the same time as well. In terms of taking the highlighting further, I'm going to be doing a whole month on highlighting, so don't worry guys. We'll get to that eventually, but for this, we're just gonna stay with the concealing. But this is the general idea that you want to do. And then what you wanna do before you guys leave this video, one thing that a lot of people complain about is that their concealer tends to move throughout the day. So they blink and then it ends up in the lines and stuff like that. The most important thing that you want to do with your concealer when you are done with it is you want to set it with a translucent powder. This is such an important step, guys. I need to stress this to you because what a lot of people don't realize is that concealer has a lot of emollient in it, so it is a cream product. It's going to move with the heat of your body and with the motions of blinking and smiling. It's going to travel into the lines. So you want to place a translucent powder over top of it to soak up the emollient and to set it in its place so that it's not going to budge for the whole entire day. And my favorite translucent powder that I've found so far is the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. Laura Mercier sells two different powders. A lot of people tend to get confused between the two. There's the translucent and then there's the invisible. Get the translucent one. The invisible I find doesn't work as well as the translucent does. If you guys have like a favorite translucent setting powder, I'm so open to trying different ones. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you guys love to use. So what I like to do is you want to push it into the skin. So just grab a smaller brush and just push, push, push. And pushing the product into the skin is going to help set that concealer, and it's gonna help it not budge at all for the rest of the day. And you can use your beauty blender to apply this, or you can use a little brush, whatever you wanna use to apply it. And the reason why I'm saying it's so important to push it into the skin is that pushing it in is going to ensure that it's soaking up the emollient of the concealer. If you just sort of lightly sweep it on, you're not gonna get enough of the powder onto the product for it to absorb, and it's going to budge. So that might be another mistake you're making if your concealer tends to move and you are using powder. So that is how to conceal dark circles. I hope you guys like this video. Let me know if you have any requests for videos in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next week with another video. Thanks so much for watching, guys.